Hey everyone, welcome back to the House of Ambu. I hope that everyone is enjoying their holidays, staying warm. But today I will be reviewing it Welcome to Derry, one of the newest shows, and actually a pretty good one, surprisingly. Okay, but before we get into Welcome to Derry, let's start with our video quote for the day. Today's quote is the best confidence builder is experience. Alright, so starting off with our non-spoiler review section. I think It Welcome to Derry is a really solid show. I think it's easily top five of the year. We definitely had some good shows, but I really do feel like most of these shows really did start off strong, but then fell off towards the end. But Welcome to Derry, it always started off strong and it was just solid in general, to be honest. I feel like there's definitely some weak points, but even then, it's just overall such a good show. It really does feel like a fresh breath of air actually getting a solid show with good writing, interesting characters. It just really is a great show. I think I'll highly recommend it. Even if you didn't see the movies, it is a prequel, so you could start with Welcome to Derry, which honestly, I didn't even really remember the first two movies that much, and I was pretty fine with it. I feel like they explained everything for you. And I think it's a good start to jump into the movies or the books. Yeah, I think it's a solid show to watch and definitely one of the better shows this year. So I highly recommend it to everyone. At least the first episode. If you don't like it by the first episode, then, it might just not be for you. But if you like the first episode, give it a try. Also, it's only 8 episodes, so 8 episodes is not that bad. Alright, so starting off the spoiler section, this is gonna go through all the episodes, so make sure you finish the entire show. Starting with the first episode, I gotta admit, I did not see that ending coming at all. I was completely shocked. I don't think I ever seen a show that killed off basically their entire main cast in one episode. I thought we were just gonna get to know these characters, the routine, but yeah, they just killed off all of their cast. What was it, three characters? Teddy, Phil, and the sister. It's just crazy how they did that. I was just surprised. I'm pretty sure everyone was shocked. I think it really, especially if you watch the movies, I think you could definitely tell like how much more serious it is compared to the movies. Because I guess Pennywise was more playing around more in the movies, but now we actually got to see him being, I guess, like serious and in his prime, I guess. So we could definitely tell a difference with that. Speaking of Pennywise, I really like how they kept the reveal back to later. I think it was like episode 4 or 5. So it was a good amount of time. Just being able to see him like slowly like evolve, like literally just him being born from a baby and then like growing into like the Pennywise we known was really cool. And this actually helped us like like explore more of the characters and stuff instead of like throwing them all in to fight Pennywise right away. So I definitely did like that build up of Pennywise throughout the season. And it really just it was a build up for the audience too, not just for the characters, but for us too. We're just like, when is he gonna come? But even though I did like the original cast, I think I definitely did end up liking this new cast of all these new characters. I definitely hated Marge a lot, but she got better over time. She was very unbearable towards the beginning, but you know, it's like middle school, high school. What can you do about it? There's always gonna be some annoying kids, but I definitely did like seeing their dynamic, and obviously these characters were way more fleshed out, and you could definitely tell they had more of a dynamic. Even like acting, I feel like was better with this cast, so which makes sense since this is the main cast. So I think it was really cool that we got better cast than like the original. So it's not like we downgraded from the characters. All the characters were interested. Lily with her backstory with Juniper Hill, not trying to go back there. Richie was really good. I liked his character. Will, all these characters were really Ronnie. All great characters. All interacted good, and I don't know. I think I might even like them better than the movie cast. But I think that's maybe just because we spent more time with them. Maybe if I read the book, I'll feel differently. But yeah, I think it's close. But I think I prefer Welcome to Derry, the cast more. So my least favorite perspectives during the show was probably the military aspect. I guess I just didn't find it as interesting as what was going on with the kids and just like other people like Will's family and I'm blanking on the movie theater guy name, but his story. I've definitely found those aspects more interesting. But the military aspect definitely did get more interested later on, like as they started to go find it. But in the beginning it was a little bit slow and I mean it wasn't the worst thing ever. It just wasn't too interested, especially with everything else going on in the other perspectives. So I'll probably touch on this more later when I'm talking about the Black Swan episode absolutely peaked that episode. But I really did like seeing the racism aspect of Derry. I know in the movies it dove into like homophobia and like bullying and stuff like that, but it really shows like whether it's either homophobic people or racism or bullies, like that aspect of Derry is what makes Derry Derry, and that could actually end up being more scary than Pennywise himself with the amount of like racism, especially shown in Welcome to Derry during the time. It really shows how bad it was, and I'm pretty sure the racists, especially during the Black Spot, I'm pretty sure they killed more people than Pennywise this entire season. So it really just goes to show. I really do think that is a cool concept like that. I don't know if it was made in the books or the movies combination, but just showing how like Derry itself, the town, is what makes it this bad. And even though we have a supernatural entity killing people, that there will always be racist or homophobic people that are worse. All right, so another important aspect of the show, Dick Halloran. I did not watch The Shining, and I think they made it a good amount of clear, but I feel like if I didn't hear other people talking about it, I would be a bit more confused. So I feel like they could have went more in depth with that, but I guess you kind of just have to know the lore. It's one of those things. But they made it a little bit more clear. I feel like that would have been nice. But once I understood the lore, I don't know. I wasn't too big of a fan of it. I was like, I feel like we have too much supernatural stuff going on already. And then we're adding someone who could like read minds and like fight against Pennywise. I was like, this is really different. But I really did end up liking Dick's character, Halloran, seeing him interact with the dead people, and him just, it's not just like powers, it's just like straight up trauma too. Like he has to live seeing dead people every single day. So I think just seeing that aspect of it and not just like a power or a plot device to use against Pennywise was really cool. Like we definitely get to see this in the Black Spot episode where he has to interact with the dead people to help get everyone out. That was a really cool aspect of seeing him use his powers. Then we see it with him seeing Richie at the end, which was really sweet for his parents. And then, just overall trauma he faces with seeing dead people every day. I like the backstory with the original tribe and how they had to fight Pennywise off, and they how they had to trap them with the pieces of his spaceship metal. I forgot what they call them specifically, but I think that was pretty cool lore drop. And just, I don't know, I feel like it was pretty interesting seeing like how Pennywise was in earlier times. And I don't know, maybe season two or earlier seasons will dive into this. But yeah, I think it's cool just to see a little sneak peek of how these seasons will go and how far and how much influence really like Pennywise had over time and how he evolved over time, because he wasn't a clown then. That wasn't until later, which I'll get to in a bit. All right, and now, in my opinion, I think everyone thinks it's the best episode of the season, the Black Spot episode. But that's episode 7. Amazing episode, really. I really didn't expect them to go so full out on this episode. It really was great. I wish the finale was a bit more like this episode, so like action packed, so suspenseful, and there's always some type of danger and tension. But they really did cook with this episode, and I'm pretty sure they confirmed that the whole fire scene at the like when the whole place gets burned down was all just taken in one shot, which really is just amazing. And then this goes back to what I was saying earlier with like the racists and how much damage they did. Like they killed more people than Pennywise, and they just burned down all that entire spot. And then Rich too. It really did hurt to see that, especially like dying to like not Pennywise. I feel like that made it even worse. And honestly, I did not see that coming at all. So it really was sad to see him go that way. Although I really liked this episode, I feel like this is one of, I wouldn't say a majority of my complaints, but it's a pretty big one. I didn't really like the Ingrid storyline. I know they had to use it for a plot device, so like I guess Pennywise could find the kids and like use them. But I don't know. I feel like the plot never really went anywhere. The plot line, of course, of Ingrid, because once she found out, that she Pennywise kind of just packed her up and used the lights on her. So I don't know. I felt like it didn't have that much of an impact, especially like I don't know. I just really feel like it was kind of dumb how Ingrid didn't see that Pennywise killing and murdering a bunch of children and kidnapping them and stuff like that. She thought, oh yeah, that's definitely my dad. So yeah, that's probably like one of the main plot things I didn't like. I would hope if your parent starts kidnapping and murdering children that you would know something's not right with them. So yeah, definitely interested in that part. But I do admit the whole because she was the original daughter of I can't remember his name, but the original clown Pennywise. So that was traumatic to see, and it was definitely I bet it was definitely traumatic for her to see her father go out that way and to think that is her actual father. So it really is sad how they turned something like a clown to use for the joy of kids to actually like scare them and murder them. All right, for the finale, my last little complaint, I think it was pretty cool. I definitely did like the very end of it and how it started to connect to the It movies, like Marge being Richie's mom. That was really cool. Just the overall ending was pretty cool. How Rich came in at the end, helped them defeat Pennywise. But I feel like there definitely could have been more stakes involved or tension because I feel like we didn't really get that. Like maybe if Pennywise started murdering some of the kids and they had to like they were on like a time limit to defeat him, but we didn't really get any of that until the military showed up at the end and like started shooting people. So I definitely feel like it could have had more tension, especially for a finale. I feel like you definitely have to have more of an action packed, and we really only did get that for like the last 10, maybe 15 minutes. So that's my probably my biggest complaint. That and with the Ingrid stuff. Other than that, I think it's a really good, solid show. And I don't know, I think I like the show more than the movies from what I remembered. I just recently rewatched the first movie, but I think the show is definitely better. And I guess we get to explore more of these characters, see more of Pennywise, him being more of a threat than I feel like he was in the movies. I feel like he was a little bit silly. But overall, I think I'll have to give the show a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8 if I'm really feeling it. And I could definitely see someone giving this an 8 or 8.5. It's been a while since we had a good show that hasn't fallen off. But yeah, I really did like this show to see an actual pretty good show that doesn't fall off and has a solid plot, good characters. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for the next season. I would have never had thought that like it Welcome to Derry of all the shows dropping in this year, like Peacemaker, Daredevil Born Again, and all these other shows that like it Welcome to Derry would be in my top five, even possibly top three shows. I would have never had thought that. So this show definitely did a good job. Definitely, I think an underrated show. Excited to see where the show goes for in season two. So hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys on the next one where I'll be having my yearly recap and ranking all of the shows, movies, books that I've read and watched this year.